Discover the incredible moment. Will he say yes? A heartwarming, life-changing proposal revealed. Jake stood at the edge of Maple Grove Park, the colorful festival lights twinkling like stars in the deepening twilight. His heart raced, a nervous energy pulsing through him that rivaled the Ferris wheel spinning in the background. He had a ring in his pocket, a symbol of everything he wanted, everything he dreamed with Mia. This was it. This was the moment that could change everything. But life had thrown curveballs lately, and as much as he wished for this night to be magical, clouds loomed over him. Jake was a mechanic, a role he wore proudly at the garage that felt like home, a place where folks gathered to share laughter and stories. But now, all he had left was a memory, a bitter reminder after the big corporate buyout forced the doors to close. The heart of Maple Grove had been ripped out, and with it, the stability he fought so hard to maintain. How could he ask Mia to stay when she had a chance at nursing school in the city? A chance he might never have. As he scanned the carnival atmosphere alive with laughter and familiar faces, his gaze fell upon a group of friends gathered near the popcorn stand. It wasn't just the joy of the festival that stirred something inside him. It was how they supported one another. Standing together, shoulders touching, they reminded him of family and community, the very fabric of his life. The sight of Mia, her brown curls bouncing as she served hot dogs at the stand, pulled at his heart like a tractor beam. She was full of life, her laughter rising above the noise around them. But underneath that radiant smile lay the heavy burden of choices yet to be made. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as the moment seemed right for a proposal, chaos erupted. Jake's neighbor, Mr. Thompson, the gentle war veteran who always shared stories of courage and resilience, stumbled to the front of the crowd with tears shimmering in his eyes. An eviction notice dangled in his shaking hands, a threat that would disrupt not just his life but the very soul of their community. That fierce sense of duty buzzed in Jake's chest. He thought of the times Mr. Thompson had been there for them, and the encroaching darkness feeling more urgent than his plans for tonight. His heartbeat quickened, pounding in his ears as townsfolk turned to him, their faces brimming with confusion and concern. Could he stand by and let Mr. Thompson face this alone? His mouth suddenly felt dry. In that moment, he knew what he had to do. As the festival rolled on in cheerful oblivion, Jake moved toward the elder. The future felt fragile beneath his feet, yet in his heart, he knew it was a path worth choosing. With the ring still nestled in his pocket, the weight of that decision became the most significant thing in the world. Would Mia understand? Would she see his love in this sacrifice? Time twisted and stretched as he approached, uncertainty creeping in with every step. He glanced back at Mia, caught up in the joy of the festival, and felt the most critical question hang in the air: could love conquer even the toughest obstacles in their path? Jake reached Mr. Thompson, the crowd's murmurs fading, replaced by a suffocating silence. The elder's face, etched with age, was now marred with worry. Jake felt that familiar knot tighten in his stomach. "Mr. Thompson, what's wrong?" he asked, keeping his voice steady despite the turmoil swirling inside him. The old man's hand trembled as he raised the eviction notice, its stark lettering a painful reminder of fragility. "They're taking my home, son. I don't have enough time to gather the money." His voice cracked, revealing the weight of despair. Jake's heart sank. Maple Grove was not just a town. It was home, and every person in it mattered. This wasn't just about Mr. Thompson. It was about all of them, what they had built together. How could he ignore the call to help? He had spent his days fixing cars, but could he fix this? Without a moment's hesitation, he stepped closer. "What if we do something?" he proposed, his voice raised just above a whisper. "What if we organize a fundraiser? I know a lot of folks who love you. They would help." Mr. Thompson blinked, caught off guard. Around them, the crowd began to stir, others realizing the gravity of the situation. A wave of support washed over Jake as he spoke. "We can set up a bake sale, have some games. I can talk to the business owners. Together we can make it happen." The elder struggled to maintain his composure. Jake, it's not that simple, he said. But Jake could see a flicker of hope igniting in the old man's eyes. Nothing is simple right now. But every little bit counts, Jake insisted. He turned to the crowd, which was gathering closer, their expressions shifting from confusion to determination. Let us come together, folks. We can't let Maple Grove lose one of its own. Cheers erupted amongst the crowd. Familiar faces nodded, expressions transforming as they weighed the possibility of action. Jake felt his pulse quicken. Something was shifting. Count me in, shouted a woman from the group, raising her hand. Others quickly followed, voices filling the night air with excited plans. For a fleeting moment, in the rush of emotions and shared purpose, he felt hope rising. Maybe he could show Mia just how powerful love and community could be. In that moment he caught her gaze from across the crowd. Her eyes sparkled, but there was also concern etched on her face. Jake's heart wavered. Would she understand why he had to put his proposal on hold? Why he couldn't let the chance for a perfect moment slip away? The energy around him simmered with excitement and urgency. As people began to mobilize, plans being made for the fundraiser, Jake felt the burden shift. Yet, uncertainty gnawed at him. Would this night hold the magic he had envisioned with Mia? Or was this now just a distraction from something bigger? As the festival buzzed with renewed purpose, Jake turned back to Mr. Thompson, whose eyes now were filled with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. Thank you, son. You might just save not only my home but this community. Jake squeezed the elder's shoulder, feeling the warmth of gratitude seep into the cracks of his own worries. Deep down he knew he was fighting for more than just Mr. Thompson or himself. He was fighting for the heart of Maple Grove. Yet, as he prepared to ask a town who loved Mr. Thompson to rally around him, another question loomed over him. Would Mia still believe in him after all this? When would he have the right moment to show her the ring? The night felt charged. Would his heart find its voice before the dawn? As the cheers faded and excitement buzzed through the air, Jake's mind raced with possibilities. People began forming small groups, brainstorming ideas for the fundraiser. Doesn't it hurt to have a little fun while doing something good? Right? But all Jake could do was scan the crowd for Mia. He needed her by his side, needed her support more than ever. His eyes finally landed on her. She was standing with a couple of friends laughing, but something about her smile seemed forced. The knot in his stomach tightened again. Would this plan pull her away from him instead of bringing them closer together? Hey, Mr. Thompson, can you help us gather some of your neighbors? Jake asked, trying to shift his focus. Mr. Thompson nodded, his expression softening. Of course, son. They will all want to help. He paused, looking back towards the crowd. This community needs each other now. With renewed energy, Jake and Mr. Thompson began moving through the crowd, rallying support. Every person who heard about the plan was willing to pitch in. Donations of baked goods flowed in, volunteers signed up for games, and some even agreed to provide music for the fundraiser. Hope sparked like fireworks lighting up the night. Yet, Jake couldn't shake the gnawing doubt. He felt something was slipping away, not just the perfect moment he had planned for Mia, but perhaps something far more important. He wanted to be the hero both for Mr. Thompson and for her. Jake. It was Mia, pushing her way through the crowd. There was an urgency in her voice that made his heart leap. What if she was going to say something about his sudden shift in focus? What if she didn't understand? Can we talk? She said, her eyes searching his. The little pockets of noise around them faded into the background. He nodded, leading her to a quieter corner of the festival, away from prying eyes. The aroma of fried dough and caramel apples wafted around them, but it felt like they were in a cocoon, isolated from everything else. What's going on, Jake? She asked, her brow furrowed with concern. You seemed different tonight. Is this about Mr. Thompson? He took a deep breath. He's in trouble. He's at risk of losing his home, and I thought we could help with a fundraiser. People are stepping up, and it feels like we can really make a difference. Mia's expression softened but still carried that worry. That's amazing. But Jake, what about us? We had planned something special? There was a hitch in her voice, a plea for understanding. Jake's heart raced. I know. I wanted tonight to be perfect. I had a surprise I was going to share with you. Her eyes widened. A surprise? You hinted at something and now he sighed, more pressure building inside him. The ring, the dream, the vision of a life together was still there. But his focus was split. I want to do both, Mia. I want to help Mr. Thompson, but I don't want to let you down either. Mia reached for his arm, her touch steadying. We can do both. I'm with you, Jake. But you have to be honest with me. Don't hide things even if they're hard. Jake nodded, relief washing over him. He felt stronger with her by his side. You're right. I don't want to keep anything from you. Suddenly, the gathering crowd erupted in applause, laughter rising like music in the air. They turned to see the first few donations arriving: a homemade pie, a colorful assortment of baked goods, and the beginnings of a buzz for the fundraiser. Jake smiled, heart buoyed, but a new sense of urgency gnawed at him. How would he combine this incredible moment with the one he had dreamed of sharing with Mia? As the energy surged around them, Jake caught a glimpse of the ring tucked away in his pocket, the spark caught between his hopes and fears. Would there be time for both the community's needs and his personal desires before it was too late? The night was still young, but with every tick of the clock, the stakes felt higher. Would he be able to create a moment for Mia that would lead to a lifetime together amidst the chaos around them? The crowd continued to swell, energy bouncing off the walls of the venue as laughter and excitement echoed all around them. Fragrant scents wafted through the air, mingling with the sunlight fading in the background, casting long shadows that danced on the ground. Jake stole a glance at Mia, who was scanning the area. Her face was lit up with enthusiasm, but the tension in her shoulders betrayed her uncertainty. He wanted to sweep her up in the warmth of it all, but how could he do that while feeling so unsteady himself? Look at all these donations, Mia exclaimed, her voice a mix of joy and amazement. This is incredible, Jake. Yeah, he replied, but his heart wouldn't let him share in her excitement just yet. But we need to keep this momentum going. There was a quick flash of regret at how his words sounded. He didn't want to dampen her spirits, yet the stakes felt too high to take a breath. Mia turned to him, her expression serious. What's really going on? You look like you're about to run a marathon. Jake leaned in closer, taking a moment to gather his thoughts before speaking. I want tonight to be more than just a fundraiser. I need it to be special for us too. But it's hard to balance everything. She searched his eyes, her worry shifting to a gentle understanding. You can be that hero, Jake. For him and for us. The unexpected confidence she gave him sparked something inside. You think so? Absolutely, she replied, her enthusiasm igniting like a flame. But remember, it's okay to share the load. We're a team. Right. He took a steadying breath. Then maybe I just need a new plan. Mia's friends wandered by, giggling and whispering about the upcoming games. A jolt ran through him. What if they could turn this night into something unforgettable, something that could capture both community spirit and his love for Mia? Let us make an announcement, Jake suddenly declared, excitement spilling out of him. We can involve everyone. What do you have in mind? Mia's curiosity piqued, and the tension around them started to dissipate. If we could get everyone together for a challenge, something fun with stakes. Whoever wins gets to choose what special treat we create for the fundraiser. Plus, we can share our story at the same time. Mia clapped her hands together as her eyes widened. That's perfect. As they moved back toward the center of the festival, adrenaline surged through Jake. He could sense the excitement bubbling up, an opportunity to create connection and joy, not just for Mr. Thompson but for everyone involved. They gathered on a small stage, the vibrant crowd buzzing with anticipation. Jake's heart raced, not just from the decision to announce the plan, but also because he could see that this was his chance to bring Mia closer. Hey everyone, he began, projecting his voice into the sea of faces. We're thinking about hosting some challenges tonight while we raise money. He outlined the ideas: the tug-of-war, pie-eating contests, and the mystery box prizes. Cheers erupted, and suddenly the air was electric with energy and enthusiasm as the games kicked off. Laughter rolled through the crowd, children squealed with joy, and the sense of community bound them all together. Jake couldn't help but smile, but he still carried the weight of the ring in his pocket. In all the excitement, when would he find the right moment to share it with Mia? Minutes turned into hours, and as the sun dipped lower in the sky, the crowd became more vibrant than ever. He glanced over at Mia, her laughter ringing out like music, but then it hit him, a feeling of urgency. The time was ticking away and he was running out of chances. As the evening wore on, his heart began to thunder, and he realized he could wait no longer. He needed to make his move, to turn this beautiful night into the perfect opportunity. "Hey Mia!" But just as he was about to call her back, a thunderous cheer erupted from the crowd around him. Everyone's attention was diverted, and the moment slipped away. He caught Mia's eye, and the look she gave him told him everything. They were in this together. But with the excitement shifting and a newfound urgency pulsing through him, Jake knew he had to act fast. How would it unfold now? Would this ever be the right moment? Suddenly, a burst of fireworks lit up the sky, scattering brilliant colors overhead. Jake's heart raced even more as he took in the spectacle. But he knew one thing: whatever happened next, he needed to seize this fleeting moment before it faded away into the night. The fireworks crackled overhead, painting the dark canvas of the night with a dazzling display of colors. Jake felt the rush of excitement blend with the weight of apprehension in his chest. He was acutely aware of the ring in his pocket, and with each explosion of light, his resolve tested the limits of his nerves. He watched Mia as she clapped her hands together, joy radiating from her like the bright bursts above. Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, and for a fleeting moment, his worries melted away. This was a night to celebrate their hard work, to connect with their community, and to pave a path toward what was truly important. Yet, the perfect moment still eluded him. "Let us give a big round of applause to all the participants," Mia shouted, her voice ringing out above the cheers. The crowd responded with shouts and claps, their faces alight with joy. The energy buzzed around him, yet his mind raced. He stepped closer to Mia as the clamor settled a bit. "So after all this, there's something I really want to talk about," he said, his heart pounding harder than ever. But the din around them surged once again, drowning out his words. Mia turned to him, raising an eyebrow, eager to hear what he had to say. The warmth of her presence strengthened his resolve. Still, Jake hesitated. Would now be the right time to unveil his plans? Or should he wait for another moment when they could share an intimate space away from the crowd? Suddenly, a little boy darted past him, followed closely by his friends, all giggling and racing toward the dessert table. They were buzzing with energy, unaware of the monumental decision hanging over Jake. "Jake!" Mia's exclamation drew him back. She pointed excitedly at the stage. "They're ready for the pie-eating contest. Let us go." He followed her, but his focus remained on the ring in his pocket. The louder the crowd grew, the deeper his anxiety sank. He had all these plans, these dreams, but could he really make a move that would change everything in front of this huge crowd? "Come on," she called back, her infectious laughter breaking through his thoughts. As they reached the stage, Jake took deep breaths, forcing the chaos around him to settle. They stepped in front of a makeshift podium, where people were shoving pies onto tables and preparing for a messy showdown of laughter and cream. "All right, everyone," Mia shouted again, her voice filled with laughter. "Are you ready to see who can devour the most pies?" The crowd erupted in cheers, and Jake felt the thrill build around him. It was exhilarating to witness so many people coming together in joy. Yet inside him, his moment still chirped at him insistently. "Let us get this started." He joined in, trying to mask the nervous tremor in his voice. The first round kicked off, and pies flew, laughter and screams of delight echoed. He lost himself in the moment, caught in Mia's contagious excitement, but the weight in his pocket was still a pressure he wanted to release. As the contest wound down with whipped cream splatters painting cheeky smiles on faces, an idea struck him. "Mia," he called, grabbing her attention, pulling her away from the chaos momentarily. "I want to do something different, more personal. Can I?" But just as he was about to lay his soul bare, a voice boomed through the loudspeaker. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a surprise guest." Jake sighed, momentarily resigned. But he wasn't done yet. His adrenaline surged again. Whatever it took, he had to find that moment to make it count. "Can we finish this in a bit?" Mia asked, her eyes still shining with curiosity. "Absolutely," he replied. As they turned to face the stage, Jake knew he had to be ready. The night was still young, and the moment he sought was still within reach. But what if the surprise guest changed everything? Would it be another distraction, or could it be the catalyst for the change he was hoping for? With the crowd buzzing around them, the answer lingered in the air. calling out for clarity. As the guest stepped into the spotlight, Jake's pulse quickened. Who could it be? And how? Would it affect his plans for tonight? The crowd grew hushed as a familiar figure took the stage, the spotlight illuminating her radiant smile. It was Sarah, a childhood friend of both Jake and Mia, known for her incredible singing voice. The moment she stepped up to the microphone, the audience erupted in applause once more, their cheers echoing into the night. "Hello everyone," Sarah called, her voice warm and inviting. "I'm so happy to be back home, celebrating with all of you tonight." Jake felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him. Sarah had always been a vibrant part of their lives, bringing people together through her music. Yet, as he watched her, an uncomfortable twist in his stomach reminded him of his own unresolved feelings. Tonight was the night he had planned to take a leap, but now all focus was on Sarah as she began to sing a heartfelt ballad that knocked the breath out of him. Mia leaned in, her face lighting up at Sarah's familiar melody. "She always knows how to bring everyone together," Mia said, her eyes sparkling with admiration. Jake nodded, recognizing the truth in her words but still wrestling with his inner turmoil. As he tried to focus on Sarah's soothing voice, his thoughts drifted back to the ring. It had been a symbol of all the hopes and dreams he had for their future together, the one he was ready to propose with. If only he could find the right time. Jake looked at Mia, who closed her eyes, swaying gently to the music, completely lost in the moment. The happiness radiating from her was contagious, yet it made his heart ache deeper. He realized that with each note Sarah sang, a little bit of his courage slipped away. This wasn't just about the proposal. It was about sharing a life with Mia, building a future together, and nurturing the dreams they had always talked about. Then something happened that pulled him away from the melody. A flicker of movement caught his eye from the edge of the stage. A small girl in a brightly colored dress wandered forward, her mother trailing anxiously behind her. The child, eyeing Sarah with wide-eyed wonder, could hardly contain her excitement as she shouted, "Mom, I want to sing with her." The crowd chuckled softly, and Mia's laughter mingled with the sounds around them. There was a shared delight in the spontaneous moment, a reminder of the joy life could hold. It struck Jake that this was what he wanted. A life full of unexpected moments, laughter, and love. Before he could think twice, the adrenaline surged through him again like a spark igniting a flame. Was this the moment he'd been waiting for? The excitement in the air wrapped around him, and for the first time since the night began, he felt ready to take that leap. "Let us go up there," he said suddenly, grabbing Mia's hand. "I want to take this chance." Mia's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and thrill dancing across her face. "Are you serious?" "Absolutely," he said, urgency bubbling up. "I need to make this count." They made their way through the crowd, and as they got closer to the stage, Jake's heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. Whatever happened next would define everything. Mia looked at him, her smile bright but blurred with confusion. "Jake, what are you?" But he was already climbing onto the stage, pulling her with him. The crowd's murmuring escalated into murmurs of curiosity. Jake felt the spotlight as heat enveloping him, a moment of vulnerability settling on his shoulders. With every step forward he took a deep breath, each pulse of the crowd pushing him closer to his destiny. How he could surely know if this was the right course. "Sarah," Jake called, capturing Sarah's attention as she finished her song, the audience catching their breath. The music faded, and all eyes turned to him. "Can I borrow the mic?" he asked, his resolve hanging in the balance. Mia's eyes widened further, and a questioning smile appeared on her face. The weight of the world seemed to pull at him, and in that very space, every heartbeat became its own story. What would he say? Could he make this unforgettable? Jake clenched his jaw, determined to carve out a moment. Right there, into the very fabric of their lives, he could feel every gaze on them, the expectation hanging thick in the air. Little did he know, fate had its own plans that night. And just as he opened his mouth to speak, the ground beneath them trembled slightly, the crowd gasped, and everything shifted in a way he never anticipated. What was about to happen would change everything. The tremor rippled through the ground, causing a collective gasp to rise from the crowd. Jake felt a buzz of panic course through him, but amidst the chaos he steeled his resolve. The uncertainty of the moment was a strange juxtaposition to the certainty he felt about his feelings for Mia. "Is everyone okay?" Sarah's voice broke through the tension, tinged with concern. She looked from the audience to Jake and Mia, her blue eyes wide, catching that flicker of anxiety. Jake's throat was dry, but he couldn't let the moment slip away. He looked at Mia, whose gaze was locked on him, filled with questions and wonder. Did she sense it too, the shift in the energy that night? He took a deep breath, grounding himself. "Sarah," he called again, feeling a rush of adrenaline as he clutched the microphone tightly. "You have to know how great you are. You light up this room." The crowd responded with cheers, a few clapping in approval. He could see Mia smile softly, encouraging him without a word. But he continued, his heart pounding like a drum. "That's not why I'm here tonight." He felt the atmosphere shift as curiosity washed over the crowd. "I've got something important to say." In that electrifying moment, he spotted the little girl from earlier, her face beaming and filled with excitement. A wave of warmth hit him. She was a reminder of innocence, a time when dreams felt limitless. "I've known Mia for years. She's my best friend. The love of my life." His voice broke for a split second, raw and real. "And I'm ready to take the biggest leap. To ask her to share this journey with me for all time." Mia's eyes glimmered as something deep inside her seemed to ignite. The surrounding noise faded, pulling them into a world where it was just the two of them. Jake reached into his pocket, heart racing, and pulled out the ring, its surface shimmering even under the stage lights. "What are you doing?" Mia mouthed, astonishment written all over her face. He could sense the world around them holding its breath, waiting. "Because I believe in us," he said, kneeling. "Mia, will you marry me?" Silence enveloped the crowd, the air thick with tension, as his heart threatened to pound right out of his chest. He gazed into her eyes, searching for a hint, any sign of what she would say next. "Mia," Sarah urged, a huge smile on her face. "Say yes." Time stretched, every moment seeming to echo in his mind. What if she didn't? Panic flickered. But then he saw it, a tender smile breaking on her lips amidst the swirl of emotions as her hand flew to her mouth in disbelief. "Jake," she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. He held his breath, not wanting to blink in case she would change her mind. The small girl at the edge of the stage clapped her hands, excitedly jumping up and down, urging Mia to respond. "Yes," Mia finally shouted, tears welling in her eyes. The crowd erupted in cheers, a wave of joy crashing over him. Jake slipped the ring onto her finger, the clinking of metal ringing like music in the air. They both stood, surrounded by applause and laughter, the world growing brighter around them. Mia threw her arms around him, pulling him close. "I can't believe this." Their embrace felt electric, the love between them glowing like a beacon against the backdrop of cheers and celebration. Everything else faded into background noise as they held each other tightly, heart soaring. But then the trembling returned, a low rumble this time. Not from the earth but somewhere deeper, a sense of something evolving, shifting. Jake pulled back slightly, scanning the crowd, confusion mingling with excitement. What was happening now? A moment of joy already mixing with a ripple of anxiety. He could feel something new unfolding. And just as he began to take in the festivity around him, a loud crash echoed from behind the stage, followed by shouts from the crowd. Every joy seemed to halt, replaced by an unsettling question. What had just happened? Would this night truly remain one of joy? Or would it unravel into chaos? The applause and cheers faded into a heavy, uncertain silence. Jake's stomach twisted as he whipped his head toward the source of the crash. Panic surged through him like a wildfire, threatening to engulf the moment he had just created with Mia. The crowd began to murmur anxiously. People shifted uneasily, glancing behind the stage, while others instinctively pulled their loved ones close. Jake's heart raced, the adrenaline still coursing through his veins as he tried to make sense of the noise. "Mia, stay here," he whispered, a note of urgency creeping into his voice. He slowly released her, still basking in the light of her joy, but there was no time to relish it. There was something wrong, and it felt like the floor was dropping out from under him. Stepping away, he pressed forward into the crowd that had begun to part. The music had stopped. The celebration that flickered like a beacon only moments ago now felt like a fragile bubble on the verge of bursting. People were shouting, some urging others to stay calm. Jake pushed through the throng, adrenaline forcing him past fear. As he reached the back of the stage, his breath caught in his throat. There, among the displays and scattered equipment, lay a sound technician sprawled on the ground, the equipment around him toppled and broken. A nearby light, its frame cracked, had apparently given way. "Is he okay?" A voice from the crowd called out, breaking through the rising anxiety. Jake's heart dropped further. He watched as two stagehands rushed to the young man's side. A ripple of concern spread through the gathering crowd, people instinctively pulling their phone out to call for help. "Stay back. Give him space," someone shouted, trying to manage the rising tension. Jake clenched his fists, torn between the urge to help and the terrifying uncertainty that edged closer. Mia's voice pierced through, full of worry. "Jake?" She found him, her expression transformed from joy to fear in an instant. "What happened?" "I don't know," he replied, his mind racing. He stepped closer to the fallen technician, instinctively searching for signs of life. His heart ached with dread. In that split second, the joy of his proposal felt like a distant memory. Overshadowed by this looming tragedy, Jake stood helpless as people began to cluster around the technician. A sinking feeling settled in his chest as he heard the faint sirens in the distance. The celebration of love was overshadowed by the harsh reality of life's unpredictability. He turned back to Mia, who was searching his face for answers. Her eyes were wide with fear and disbelief. "What if," she started, her voice trembling as she searched for the right words. "What if this night is forever changed?" Jake's mind raced. Could he allow the fear of the unknown to deprive them of their moment? He took her hands in his, squeezing them tightly, aiming for reassurance. "No matter what happens, we'll get through this together." As the ambulance lights flickered in the distance, illuminating the chaos that seemed to envelop them, Jake felt a lurking uncertainty drown out the joy he had just felt. How could he turn this moment back around? How could they find the light among the shadows? Just then, a loud crash shattered the moment again, this time coming from the top of the stage. Jake's breath hitched. Was the night still going to take a dramatic turn? With Mia's hand firmly in his, he braced himself, knowing that the chaos swirling around him could change everything once more. The loud crash rang through the air, and in a heartbeat, a second wave of panic washed over the crowd. Jake spun around, nausea creeping into his stomach again, as he felt the collective gasp ripple through the audience. It was as if time had stopped, and he could sense the weight of fear settling in. "What was that?" Mia's voice quavered, pulling him back to the moment. He met her gaze, and in her wide eyes, he saw his own dread reflected. Desperation clawed at him. The lights were flickering like before a storm, and he needed to act, to make sure Mia felt safe amidst the chaos. "Stay close," he instructed, tightening his grip on her hand as they edged back toward the stage. Each step felt monumental. The crowd was tightening again, whispering a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Jake could feel the tremors of tension spreading, like ripples from a stone dropped in still water. As they got closer, the scene came into view. Two stagehands were now scrambling to stabilize the scaffolding that had collapsed. The sound tech lay motionless while chaos swirled around them. A few brave souls edged closer to help, while others stood paralyzed by fear. Calling 911. Someone shouted, and the realization hit him that they were in the middle of something serious. Besides the glorious moment he had envisioned, this night could turn into a nightmare just as quickly. Mia's voice trembled, pulling his focus back to her. Her face, once glowing with excitement, was now clouded with worry. What if he doesn't make it? What if something terrible happens? He squeezed her hand tighter, a silent plea for her to hold on to hope. "I don't know," he admitted, letting the truth dangle in the air between them. Yet he felt a burning desire to shield her, to remind them both of the love they had just committed to die in that moment. The sirens grew louder, and a deep breath surged from Jake's lungs. They were about to be enveloped in the urgency of the situation, but beneath the surface, he could feel an undying flicker of light, the love he shared with Mia. It had to shine through this darkness. "I'll always protect you," he said, looking deep into her eyes, willing a piece of strength into her. The sirens wailed like ghosts of past worries, but he held on. "No matter what happens tonight, remember what we have." This he gestured between them, the love they had cultivated. That one change. Suddenly, another crash erupted from the center of the stage as a piece detached from the rigging and fell to the ground. The crowd roared in shock and fear, stepping back as if they could somehow distance themselves from the impending danger. Their panic felt almost contagious, but Jake stood rooted, determined to face whatever was happening. Then, in the midst of the chaos, another sound pierced through shouting. "Clear the area! EMTs are here!" The emergency responders pushed through the crowd, their faces masked with urgency. Jake felt a surge of relief, realizing that the support he hoped for was finally at hand. But that didn't quell the deep anxiety thrumming in his chest. He had to shield Mia from all of it, protect her as the medics rushed to the technician. Jake pulled Mia back slightly, creating a small barrier against the shifting crowd. "We'll be okay," he murmured, repeating the mantra even when he wasn't entirely sure of it himself. But just as a glimmer of hope flickered between them, he heard the muted voice of a paramedic, followed by a stark gasp that echoed out into the night. It was a sound that sent a shiver down Jake's spine. What now? He thought, dread pooling within him. Would they face yet another heart-stopping moment before the night could turn back to the joy they had envisioned? With the ambulance lights spinning in a dizzying array, Jake sensed their world tipping toward an uncertain fate. Would they emerge from this stronger? Or would it shatter the fragile happiness he had yearned for? Mia's eyes searched his for reassurance, and he could feel the weight of her uncertainty. In that moment, a single thought pushed through the haze of fear. What if the worst was yet to come? Jake felt the tremors of uncertainty swirling around them, each moment growing heavier with anxiety. He wanted to pull Mia into the safety of his arms, to shield her from the chaos. But he knew that wouldn't help. They needed to be strong together. As the paramedics worked frantically, Jake instinctively reached for Mia's hand, feeling its warmth against the chill of anxiety creeping through him. "We'll be okay," he whispered, though his own heart was racing. She looked up at him, searching for that reassurance, and he held her gaze, willing their shared strength to bloom amidst the turmoil. Suddenly, the silence was broken by the medics yelling instructions to the crowd, asking people to step back. Anxiety rippled through them, faces bending to the weight of an unspoken fear. Through their frantic movements, the technician was carefully lifted from the ground, attended to with precision. Jake's breath quickened as he felt all eyes in the crowd turning back to him and Mia. What if they became the center of attention for all the wrong reasons? "Let us move away from the stage," Jake suggested, pulling Mia gently toward the edge of the crowd. The last thing they needed was to get caught in the chaos or lose sight of each other. The festival's vibrant energy seemed to have faded into an anxious hum that echoed his own feelings. Mia's fingers intertwined with his, and for a moment, the world around them dimmed into the background. "You're still the hero," she said softly, her lips quivering with a mixture of worry and resolve. Her faith in him burned bright, like a lighthouse guiding him through the haze of apprehension. "I wanted tonight to be special," he admitted, his heart weighing heavy as memories of the proposal washed over him. "I hoped for a moment just for us." "I still believe that can happen," she replied, determination lacing her voice. "But sometimes, life throws us these hurdles to remind us what really matters." The tension between them began to soften, loosening the tight grip fear had on their hearts. Jake realized that the love they shared wasn't confined to any one moment. It was a bond that shimmered through chaos, illuminating even the darkest nights. As the paramedics finished their work, soothing murmurs spread through the night air. The crowd watched closely, united in their shared concern and slowly beginning to exhale. From the distance, cheers broke out, mixing with applause already building again. "They're saying he'll be okay," someone shouted, causing a ripple of relief to wash over those gathered. Jake turned to Mia, feeling the pressure lifting. "What if we can still make tonight special?" "Absolutely," she beamed, her eyes lighting up with realization. "Let us celebrate life, our community, and everything we hold dear together, even amid chaos." He nodded, inspiration surging inside him. "Let us turn this night around. We're ready to help, to support Mr. Thompson, and show everyone that love conquers everything, even the unexpected." With her enthusiastic nod, they stepped back toward the gathering crowd. Jake felt the energy shift again, their community rallying together, stronger for the ordeal they faced. "Everyone," Jake declared, taking a deep breath as he felt Mia's hand squeeze his. "Let us not allow fear to keep us from what brings us joy." The crowd quieted, anticipation drawing them in as he continued. "Let us dedicate the rest of this night to remind ourselves of the strength we share." We came together to help Mr. Thompson. Let us do just that together. Cheers erupted, voices rising high, energy pouring back into the festival atmosphere. They had come here as a community, united not just in celebration but in resilience. As laughter and shouts filled the air again, Jake's gaze met Mia's. They shared a moment of understanding, a silent vow etched between them. They would take on life together, side by side, loving fiercely, no matter what hurdles the night or life would toss in their way. Turning his attention back to the crowd, he gestured to the stage, where Sarah stood smiling, ready to lift spirits with her. Music. Let us dance. Mia shouted, laughter melting into joy. Together they joined the crowd, voices blending into joyous song. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of community and fueled by love, Jake understood. Perfect moments were not solely about proposals or fireworks. They lived in the laughter shared with friends and the bonds woven in caring. Tonight, amid chaos, he had found it. And yes, there would be time later, amidst laughter and love, to find a more private moment for his heart. But for now, he reveled in everything. They were a celebration of life, love, and the bond that would carry them through every storm. As the festival thrived on, shouting echoed into the night sky, drawing on the bright colors of fireworks once lost. The heart of Maple Grove had not just been restored, it burned brighter than ever. So take your leap of faith. Embrace that wild, unpredictable ride we call life. And remember, this is the community that stands together. Now don't wait not even one more second to support this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to never miss these exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm's desire for more. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And please share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support for the adventures ahead.